Hey, greetings, Performance Reviews, where I give the review from the technician's point of view. And today I have an MD650. So we're going to start this video off. I'm going to do just a quick unboxing and setup and just kind of show you what it is, this is, and what you're getting. And we're going to do a sound test, we're going to do a suction test, and I'm going to just show you some details about this because there's just not a lot of information about really any of the MD line up central vacuums out there. So stay tuned, this is going to be a very informative video. Now, not everybody needs the best of the best. So this is an MD F650t. This is probably the best value if you have a smaller house with less valve for a central vacuum. And MD names their central vacuums based on the amount of air watts they have. So, like the name says, 650, it means it has 650 air watts approximately. Where there are bigger units that have over 700 or 900, and those models are named accordingly. Always size your central vacuum to your house. You don't necessarily want to buy one based on price. This is an appliance, this is something that you're going to have for the next 20 years. So keep that in mind when you're purchasing and looking at these, and definitely contact your local dealer. Now, for being such a high-end appliance, these really do come in a low-end box, unfortunately, so there's no thrills really to the box. So we're going to start by opening this up, and inside you're greeted with a bracket, instructions on how to mount that bracket. That just pulls out, and then inside we're greeted with the unit. We can go ahead and pull it out. And that's pretty much what you get in the box. Now, opening this lid, we're gonna reveal a couple other things, like the manual. We also have some crimps on the back here for setting up the low voltage. I'm gonna give you not one, but two bags, and I'll explain what just fell out. All right, we've changed the camera angle a little bit, and I'm gonna show you some of the other things that are in there that maybe are not self-explanatory. These are typically installed by a professional, which is why these really aren't self-explanatory. So we got a gasket, we have a bag, elbow, and a cap. As you can see, my pipe's coming in on this side, so we're gonna cap off the other side that's not in use, and we're gonna put this in. Now, personally, when I install this, I like to push these in like so, and it's not in there all the way. You have to wait for it to come out here. And I like to use a rubber mallet and just give it a couple taps. And you can see all the tabs are now protruding. So we're gonna go ahead and move the whole unit. Which is kind of the fun thing about the MD bracket system. So it's very movable. We're gonna go ahead and move it. And now everything is where it should be. Let's go ahead and plug the rest in and put the bag on. So as far as putting the bag on, give it half a twist. And you insert the one side there. Your other side, you want to put some tape on so it doesn't wiggle loose. You're not going to use this side. And then the utility valve goes right here. That's going to open up like so and fit on there like that. And now your bag is in place, and you can see it's labeled on there. One thing about MD is the lids don't have any latches. It just fits on there with gravity. Now, as far as setup goes, you want to just plug these wires in right here with the quick disconnects. Really, really simple. And then this goes to a dedicated outlet, wherever that might be. Now, unfortunately, MD doesn't include a muffler in the box. I'm gonna go ahead and install a muffler real quick. This is actually a beam muffler. These are a little bit larger than some of the other mufflers that are available. Unfortunately, Beam has gone out of business, but if you can still find some new old stock Beam mufflers, I highly recommend that. It's probably one of the only good Beam products. Included with the Flo-Master is this blow-off valve, and what this valve does is it creates an air relief by going in like that. If the unit were to somehow get a surge and the board were to go, or you get something really stuck in the unit that keeps the motor from breaking, it's a little bit of a quality touch. Now, sometimes these do need to be adjusted to the altitude or to the retractable hose system, so keep that in mind. Again, that you'll need a professional to adjust that. So there it is on my wall. There's really no frills. It's very, very simple. There's an on and off switch for the utility valve here. There's no sort of auto start mechanism. There's also no sort of performance indicator or bag check. So you really have to just keep an eye on the bag. Most people go through those bags every 6 months to a year. So just use a calendar to keep track of your bag. Looks-wise, it's pretty old school looking, like a lot of central vacuums. I will say the nice compact nature of this means this can fit in a lot of areas where some of the bigger units can't. All right, we have switched to the studio microphone, so you're going to hear the real sound of the machine as it runs. Again, the camera's 1.5, 2 meters away, so let's see how it sounds. Wow, that truly is quiet for being, again, a Flo-Master, which is MD's entry-level unit. This is pretty darn quiet. I've connected my working vacuum gauge to the Flo-Master F650t. Let's see how much suction this gets. So again, over a mile high, we're getting about 75 to 78 inches of working vacuum. Very good numbers. And we're getting about 99 inches sealed. And like I've said in some other videos, I am well over a mile above sea level, and that's the number that is most affected. So you could expect this number to be a little bit higher the closer you are to sea level. All right, now my next question is, what are we getting at the end of the hose? Now this is really the difference of airflow taking up the volume of the pipe in the wall versus some of the bigger units. We have a small install here, under 4,000 square feet, just with 2 valves. This is probably the most ideal setup for this. And you can see we're not getting great working vacuum numbers. I'm curious to see if this will retract my hose. All right, here's the moment of truth. Is that enough suction to retract my hose? Well, the answer is barely and lazily. So yes, it will retract 1 chameleon. That's a 50-foot chameleon. I suspect if this was a 40 or 30-foot chameleon, that would be okay. And it's not going to make much of a difference, the height of hose. So keep that in mind. If you're installing this, it's probably for a traditional install, and that's where I've put these in the field. I've never really had one of these with a retractable, and I've never put a retractable in anybody's house that used a unit this small. Again, my own best practices. Welcome to the in the shop portion, where we're going to go ahead and take this apart and tell you what it's like inside. Now, there are 2 screws to remove. There's a sheet metal screw, and there's this. Unfortunately, these are non-standard fittings. These are SAE, they're not metric, so you're going to go ahead and have to get a weird set of tools for that. That's all there is to it. We have a circuit board over here, very easy to get to. We have an on-off switch, and there's some mesh here so you don't stick your fingers in here. Unfortunately, there's no sort of sound deadening or anything, which would probably make this even quieter. And then we have a very familiar looking Amtech motor. And this particular motor is assembled in Mexico. So while the units are assembled in the US, the motors are made in Mexico. I don't believe there's any US manufacturer making vacuum motors currently. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So yeah, we have this motor, and this is the same motor that you saw me throw in a TriStar. You've seen this motor various other times on the channel. If you're a Patreon supporter, you know I was building a monster using 2 of these. So very cool, nice to see, easy to get to. Other than the SAA tools versus metric, again, metric seems to be the standard the world uses. I would prefer metric tools to take this apart. That's my only criticism. Everything else is very easy and simple to service. I'd also say it would be nice to see some sort of gasket or better seal here, but again, you know, that's really fine picking this. You know, it's really quite simple. So what are my final thoughts on the Flo-Master F650t? Well, I think it's an excellent value proposition. I think it's extremely quiet for what it is. You can buy with confidence from MD is that it has a 10-year warranty. Those are all the pros. I think the negatives are going to be is this is for a smaller size house. Again, MD lists that on their website, and any of your local professionals will advise you whether this is right for you or not. However, if you have a house with multiple retractable hoses, a more modern install, this is probably not the unit for you. But if you just have one retractable hose in a hybrid situation, I think this would work. I would still personally pay the money to upgrade to a bigger unit like the M715H, but that's just me personally. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. If you have this exact same unit, I would love to hear from you and how many valves you have and how you feel about it. Curious about central vacuums and other stuff? Definitely subscribe to the channel. We always have all sorts of great information out there, and we publish videos about once a week with the latest vacuum stuff. So thanks for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day. While you stayed to the end of the video, please watch one of these other ones. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and turn on my Silent Master, which is the current daily driver in my house.